we have another new patch coming to Parallel, and I'm gonna go over it right now. I don't even know when it's dropping. It should be dropping pretty soon, maybe in a week, maybe with mobile release pretty soon. But gonna go over it right now. Let's check it out. So let's get right into it's just all card changes here. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of bug fixes as well. But starting off with Graphene Battery. This card is not played a lot, but as they say in the description here, the whole thing is like a lot of the times with Overclock and Augen Core, you don't want to actually go for the 1 energy overclock for the random upgrade just because you don't want to hit this thing right here. Because if you didn't know the old ability, basically you give +4 to your unit, +4 attack, and then after that upgrade, a unit is destroyed, it deals damage to all friendly units. So if you roll that, it could totally just lose you the game out of nowhere. So a lot of the times, like you don't even if you don't have the energy to go for the 2, you just don't even overclock the card, or you just don't play the card. And this makes it. I mean, it's still gonna be hurting a little bit. You destroy each adjacent unit, so it still could hurt you, depending on the positioning as well. But I think if you play around positioning a bit, now you can actually play around the positioning, and put it on the end of the board, and now it's not going to just straight up lose you the game. Obviously, it depends on the scenario, but yeah, I like this a lot. Not because the card is like underplayed or whatever, just because of that sheer exactly what they're saying right there in the notes about rolling this randomly and it just losing you the game. Like I think it's somebody told me the other day it's like a 1 in 22 chance for you to get this upgrade here. So yeah, that just feels really bad to lose the game. 1 in 22, especially when you're like so far ahead. I've had it happen to me multiple times. I'm sure you guys have as well. We'd like to see this change. Good. Next is Allocated Provisions, one of the best cards in Earthen. It's been really, really good. And yeah, now it's been changed to a 0 cost. So a buff in that regard, but the new ability is, so instead of being able to conceal any number of bank cards whenever, it has 2 abilities now. It's a little confusing, but the first ability is going to be you pay 1 energy and you conceal all the revealed bank cards, and then you still shuffle the supply caches, of course. The second ability is you can activate it once per turn to conceal 1 bank card and still shuffle in that supply cache. So if you want to conceal multiple times in the turn, you're going to have to pay at least 1 energy. If you want to conceal more than 1 card, I should say. And yeah, especially if you want to do it multiple times. But it still is pretty good. I think it's still going to be solid in the deck. It's very necessary in Earthen specifically. You can still play it on turn 4 with the Terra Glider and still be able to conceal a banked card. Yeah, you can conceal 1 card, but moving forward, like, I mean, you're gonna have to pay a little energy, but usually Earthen has like 1 or 2 energy left over. I don't know. I think it's a good change. It's a little confusing to me. It's gonna take a little while to get used to how this exactly works, but I think Earthen still needs to run this card. It's still pretty solid, and yeah, it just helps a lot. I'm pretty sure you can still pay the 1 multiple times to conceal all your stuff. So it's still gonna be you're still gonna be able to do multiple concealings every turn, and yeah, I just think it got a little bit of a nerf, but also in some sense it got a little bit of a buff. I just wonder if maybe this new buff makes this card playable in other decks outside of Earthen. Let me know down below what you think about that. Maybe we could cook a little bit with it. Being able to conceal the bank card for free every turn, spending 0 on this as well. Maybe it could find itself in some kind of ADHQ list. I don't know, but pretty interesting stuff. I like that it was changed, but just a little confusing to me, like I said. Not going to talk about it much further. Let's go to No Snitching. This card has been used in a lot of decks for a decent while now, and it did get nerfed previously to not target Paragons, but now it actually got nerfed again because of how popular it's been. To now only remove the abilities of non-Paragon units that cost 4 or less. That's a big deal. And I understand why they did this. I was talking to John Bray at the Prime Championship about this card specifically, and how a card like this is just really like limiting to design, to future design of cards. Basically, like if you have any good, if you have any card with like a good effect on it, it just gets countered easily by this zero cost no snitching card. It's, unless it has shielded on it or whatever. But yeah, I think this does just like open up a lot more design in the future, and they're able to print like these cards that are more than four with good effects on the board while they're on the board that won't just get targeted by this for free. I like it. Card still seems okay. Don't know how much play it's going to see from now on though. But whenever we're playing a card game, we don't want just auto include cards in every single deck. I believe that's called in chess. That's called like the queen's problem or something like that, where it's like if you were able to choose your ideal chessboard, like your ideal chess pieces on your board, what would you choose? And you're always gonna choose all the queens because queen is OP. And it's just like we don't want auto include cards that everybody uses in every single deck. So nice to see this take a little hit here. Then we see the Vindicator Rapid Assault Vehicle, which is very popular in Kathy, of course, and ADHQ. Taking a hit to the attack seems reasonable. The card is still strong. It's still for 3, you're going to deal 6 damage at least. And yeah, it's a vehicle, so it's going to get like a buff from the machinist as well. I think the card's still good. It's nice to just see some hits to like the top decks. I think Kathy and Scipius have been at the top currently. And then we see Triumph of Europa. This is actually probably the biggest change that we see in these patch notes right here. Triumph of Europa is no longer going to give +1 attack to all the units that you bring back, which is an insane change. This is a big deal because like now bringing back Tabula Rasas, bringing back the babies, doesn't just give you free 1/1s on the board. Yeah, it's just a lot less powerful. Like currently, like this card is just insane. They've thought about different ways to nerf it. It did get nerfed already, and it's still been probably the best card in the deck. It just enables so many, just enables you to get back on the board with like 1,000,000 units, and they're all so strong. So now you're going to be able to get back on the board with 1,000,000 units, but they're going to be a lot less powerful collectively. And we love to see it. I mean, still, you could obviously use cards like Bear or Subjugate to get those buffs still, to get buffs when they come back. But yeah, it's not just automatic buffs plus the other buffs plus the buffs of the Relic. You know, it gets a little out of hand. So love to see this change. Huge change. And then we see Magna, which is also one of the most powerful cards in Kathari, in Scipius, being changed to deal a flat 3 damage to a target enemy unit instead of the damage equaling this unit's attack. So usually you would bring back Magna from the waste. It would get the +1 from the Triumph, which is no longer going to happen anyway. But usually you'd have like a Bearer on the field. You could have a Subjugate on the board. You could have Relic on the board to buff it up. All the things that I just mentioned before. Just made this unit. I mean, the unit's already still strong. It's going to be still strong. Doing all these effects and everything. But more fair. We like the more fair. It's a good change. And then we have some more Kathari cards. We have Meridus, which has been pretty underplayed for a while. It actually used to see play back in the day, but yeah, Meridus going from a 4 cost to a 3 cost, and Meridus has a very strong effect, if you did not know. I'll just go over it real quick. You pick 2 units in your waste, and then this unit gains the attack and health of one of them, and it gains the abilities of the other one. I think this card could totally see play with this change. Totally. This is actually a scary card now. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to change up the deck a little bit and maybe get a little lucky with what's in the waste, but everybody knows Kathari gets a lot of units in the waste with like Subjugate and the Triumphs as well. So yeah, I think this card is going to be very playable now. I think you're going to see this card a lot. Ramus getting a change as well. You probably never have seen this card before. I think I played it like twice myself. Now it excludes decay when you give abilities to your other cards. Still going to be too slow, I think. But yeah, this is a pretty necessary change to not just get like a negative. Like you might get a keyword that doesn't help you, but a keyword that's actively hurting you. Yeah, that's a big deal to get rid of that. Still probably not playable, but cool card, and I hope it does become playable if we get like a slower meta. And then we have a couple more cards here. Actually, every time I think it's gonna end, we have more. Enduring Immunis. This is another card. This is a card in like the starter deck for Kathari. Not really played at all outside of that starter deck, but now you can actually, when this card dies, it actually goes back to its hand as well. Instead of it just being other friendly non-token units that go back into your hand, this card would go back into your hand as well. So infinite value, interesting. If the meta does slow down, currently just not playable. The stats are really not great either. Yeah, there's just no reason to play this right now, but could be cool. Obviously you could banish it or you can silence it first and then kill it, and it won't get the effect. But honestly, not a horrible card maybe anymore. Yeah, let me know what you think. And next card is Eighth Palm of Galley. Added the clone type to this as well. I mean, honestly, this card is kind of interesting. So maybe, I don't know. I feel like the meta has been too slow or been too fast for a while, so we haven't been able to see cards like this in play. But honestly, if it does slow down, another one of these cards, if the meta does slow down, if the game does slow down, depending on what people are running in their deck, this could be really nice. So I would actually keep my eye out on this, especially moving into like the next expansion that we're going to see. And next card we have here is the Galleon Orator. This one is apparently a revert of an old nerf. Now it's going to go back down to 8 cost. I think this card is still poop, but I don't know. We always love to see just, I say it in every video, like we love to see changes to cards that just don't see a lot of play at all. It looks like we got like all Kathari cards this time, but hey, you never know. One day these cards could be okay because of these changes. We got Mournful Delta, the last card right here. I didn't even really know what this card did, but the stats are getting changed around, so now it's going to be a 2-4 instead of a 4-2. Going to be stickier unit and just helps you draw cards. Still think it's going to be too slow, like a lot of the other things, but just cards that are now in the collection that are not horrible. You know, we just don't want horrible cards just sitting there rotting away. And this game is also Web3, so people could own NFT versions of these cards, and now maybe their stonks are going up. And maybe, yeah, it doesn't hurt to like hold these really crappy cards in your collection. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm pretty excited about the changes. I wanted to see some other classes get some cool stuff too, but yeah, a lot of things happening. I mean, we've seen a lot of nerfs to Kathari recently, so it makes sense they get some buffs as well to some other stuff, so some other tools here. But yeah, I think I'm most excited about Meritus personally. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Also, I do love to see Triumph of Europa get changed because that card has been way too good for way too long. But yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see ya in the next one.